Welcome to the New England Outdoor Life Podcast, where stories, traditions, tips, and tricks come to life by way of those who hunt, fish, guide, trap, and track all over this beautiful region. Join us as we celebrate the outdoor spirit of New England, the New England Outdoor Life Podcast.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome back to the latest edition of New England Outdoor Life Podcast. It's been a few weeks since we've done a recording as guide season has taken off for me, and Andy and I are trying to balance our careers and work and family life and everything else. But Mother Nature has been fickle as all get out. It has been nothing like last season. You and I fished Lake Dunmore a week ago, had water temps pushing 60 degrees, started seeing smallies on the beds, and then the sky fell out and we went back to almost wintertime conditions.
3 days later, it was 58.
Yeah, the lake temperatures have dropped. We had evenings that were almost down to freezing. So needless to say, Mother Nature holds the trump card this year, and we have had a ton of rain. If anybody in New England's listening knows that, I know in my home area in the last 10 days, we've had 3+ inches of rain. Lake Champlain has jumped close to 2 feet in the last 10 days. It is just crazy as the water levels are changing, temps are dropping, and the bass are on hold, and salmon are spread out all over the place. And our spring charters were doing fabulous late April, early May, and have kind of slowed up our numbers as we're continuing to search for these fish. So that being said, we are crossing our fingers. We're going to be going into a more traditional summertime pattern, and looking forward to a lot of the events that we know come each season. Mother's Day is now past, and of course with June comes Father's Day. And one of the long-standing traditions, especially in the Champlain Valley and Lake Champlain, is the Lake Champlain International Father's Day Fishing Derby. And tonight we have Liz Ehlers with us from LCI. Good evening, Liz.
Hey, guys. Thanks for having me on.
Absolutely. I know you and I went back and forth on emails, and of course, trying to match up schedules last year. It is difficult with all of us having a million things going on. And I think when I got down to punch time, I suddenly realized it was like a week before the Derby, and by the time we would have recorded and got it on the air, we would have missed it. So it's just kind of the way the ball bounces. And I made it a point this year to get you on with us long before the Derby so we could get this on air. You and I were chatting just a little bit before we started recording tonight, and you said we are on our 44th year of the Derby.
44, started in 1982.
That is awesome. And correct me if I'm wrong, I believe you guys have the biggest all-species derby in North America, at least from what I know.
Oh, I think there might be one down south that has us beat longevity-wise,
Gotcha.
But we are the oldest, largest.
That is phenomenal. So tell us about where it all started and the history behind LCI and what the whole Derby's premise is all about.
Yeah, thank you. So it started in 1982. There was a group of anglers who were concerned about the fishery and were also looking for a way to bring economic activity specifically to the Burlington, Vermont area. So they got together and kicked off the LCI Father's Day Derby. Did a phenomenal job for several years running it. It grew and grew. What started as just more of like a Burlington-centric event has now spread to encompass all of Lake Champlain. And today we operate weigh stations on both the New York and Vermont side, all the way from Rouse's Point in the north to Whitehall in the south.
That is phenomenal. And for our listeners out there that aren't aware, Lake Champlain proper from Whitehall, New York to the Canadian border is 127 miles. So you're talking a big chunk of water, roughly 580 square miles of shoreline. It is the sixth Great Lake, as many people know it, and we won't go into the political battle why we never became the sixth Great Lake.
Weren't we for like 30 seconds, though?
I think we were, and it comes right down to who wanted to share their pot of money, and we all know that. But Can't thank you folks enough for everything you've done to promote the fishery, to promote conservation, to promote the protection of our lake, and obviously where it has come today. So I'm trying to remember way back again in the 80s, I would have been at high school. Originally, was the derby just a cold water species, trout and salmon derby?
You are correct, sir. And then slowly evolved over the years to include more diverse species. And then, the current iteration, we've really done work to be more inclusive of our warm water anglers, appealing more to those who are out there targeting bowfin, sheepshead, catfish.
Yeah, it's amazing to hear of a derby. And of course, I tell clients all the time about not only our fishery and just the smorgasbord of different species that you can target, but having a derby where just about anything you could catch in our lake could take you a chance on winning prize money and maybe bringing home a boat or some big purse of money. So tell us a little bit more about how people go about getting involved.
Indeed. So we have, as you said, we have love that word, smorgasbord of species, 13 different species in all. They span the gamut from Atlantic salmon to sheepshead, carp, bowfin, pretty much anything you want to target, eligible for the derby. So it runs for 3 days from Saturday through Monday, June 14th through the 16th. We operate 13 weigh stations. Some are open 24 hours a day. For those of you guys who like to fish by the light of the moon, we're there for you. We have over $200,000 in cash and prizes up for grabs, and that's spread out. Team competitions, Ladies of the Lake, Angler of the Year. Don't want to forget our juniors. We've got 35 different junior prizes up for grabs. We try to appeal to everything, any type of angler that you are, and nobody should feel that because they're not a professional angler or log 100 plus days out on the lake every year. Like, come on out. There you'll find anglers of all skill levels, interests out there. And what I love to hear the most is that so many people will say it's not about catching prize winning fish, although that is a lot of fun. It's spending time with family and friends. And like you said in your intro, we all get so busy between family commitments and little league games this time of year and work. It's pulling us in all these different directions. But the derby is one time a year when people say, you know what, it's time to block off those 3 days, unplug, head out on the water, and just enjoy being around each other. Not only that, but also meeting new people out there, either on the water, at the weigh stations with common interests. And it's a great time.
Yeah, no, it's interesting that you say that. My own crew, and it's my deer camp crew, all of the guys that I hang out with for the fall in November, we started a little tradition ourselves. I think about 5 years ago. I told the guys I'm done booking charters on LCI weekend. I do not take any trips those 3 days. Combination of things, and I wanted to leave it for my dad, my nephew, my son. So we generally have 3 boats of guys of 3 to 4 on the group that go out, and there's no set schedule. Whoever wants to fish at whatever time of day or whatever. We stay at my camper in Virgins. And just all of us get together, of course, a big barbecue that evening. The campgrounds are hustling and bustling. Everybody's, out sitting around the fire and swatting mosquitoes and fighting the weather as usual. But it's that whole camaraderie, and you hit it on the nail head. I think so many groups say, "Hey, we're going up for LCI weekend," and it's the stores are busy and people are spending money. The restaurants are hopping, and I think that's one of the mainstays is that it has become a massive tradition. And as you get folks from all across the map that come.
Last year it was 38 different states we drew from.
That is phenomenal. 38 different states. So that just goes to show the notoriety that has come with it. Up until 2 years ago, I was operating my vessel out of Tom's Marina on the Otter Creek in Virgins. And of course, like I said, last 5 or 6 years, it's been just my family. So we're not out at the crack of dawn. I say my dad and my brother and I, my son's crew, they're hardcores. They're usually out there at 4 a.m. But we usually leave the dock around 6 o'clock and, of course, idle down the Outer Creek. And for those that are familiar with that area, you got a 2-mile no-wake zone from Tom's down to the lake. And it'll be bumper-to-bumper boats. Everybody's going down. There's campsites set up along the river. You can generally count a half dozen to a dozen different spots where folks have gone in with their boats the night before. They anchored up. They set up their tents. They got campfires going. That's what it's all about. And that's the only time of year I ever see that is that weekend. So obviously a huge thing for that draw and have people come up. I always love it that when I come out the mouth of the Otter Creek, there will be 6 or 8 boats anchored up right at the mouth. And of course, I got to kind of dodge them with the limited travel area we have there with the water levels. But that's a hot spot for the sheephead guys. And everybody's targeting sheepshead right there. And what derby would you find where that's a group of folks that have got money on the brain to try and earn that prize winning sheepshead there. So it's just pretty cool and just awesome to see the different ideas, tactics, fishing know-how that are thrown in. You just never know what you could win.
Yeah, and I to reiterate what you said, I love that we're able to support the communities that surround the lake, those rural communities that maybe don't reap the economic benefits of the traditional tourism activities that we associate with Vermont. They're not ski areas, they're not leaf peeping areas, but what they do is they offer phenomenal resources for anglers, campgrounds, bait shops, restaurants, just those great communities that dot all around the lake. Yeah,
absolutely. You look at the Champlain Islands region, the amount of bed and breakfast and the lodges up there, and I get people ask me about the weekend. I'm like, you better book well in advance because you're not going to find anything if you're looking to be close to the water. Good luck. And again, the fishermen that are coming up on charters with me a week before and after, the same thing. I am matter of fact. I was just telling Andy, I think from this Tuesday coming till the day before LCI, I have 1 day off. So, it's just a crazy busy time of year. And for us, with my charter business being a multi-species angler, this is that time of year where I can target bass and pike 1 day and go out and troll for trout and salmon the next. And I can't do that all season long. So I get a lot of folks that are very diversified in what they want to target. And generally by July and August, I'm pretty much in full-on lake trout mode for the summer. But right now, I'm day to day. Today I went fly fishing for rainbow trout. The other day I went fishing for bass. And the day before that, went trolling for salmon. So, and that's what the lake's known for. Obviously, you guys have had a big part in helping with the research, and we know how well our lake trout program is doing in our lake. And the state of Vermont, along with U.S. Fish and Wildlife, have said,
yes,
you know what, we're going to hold off on stocking lake trout for a while. And we've had phenomenal reproduction. And it's getting that notoriety, or it always has had that notoriety, obviously, from the bass world. But trophy lake trout, our walleye program is coming around. And I know that you folks have had a lot to do with the Lake Champlain Walleye Association. And you just look at the different things that it's pretty hard to find a body of water that is so diversified. And just about anything that a person could want to target and try that fits their taste buds of the fishing world, it's there.
Yeah, indeed. And hats off to the Walleye Association and the fisheries biologists, both at the federal and the state level. They've done a remarkable job with, like you said, both the walleye and the lake trout fishery. I remember years, early 2000s, when we would be lucky if we filled out a top 10 in our walleye division because, our minimum length is 24 inches on those. To now, a couple years ago, somebody brought in a 12-pounder.
Sure.
It's just, it's a lot of fun to see.
Yeah, no, it's phenomenal. And, I each year I try to spread out, if you will, or go past the normal realms of what I target. And obviously there's core things that I do with my business, but each year I try a little bit different things. And last year, I'd say the last 2 seasons, I've really kind of worked on a jigging program to, when the lake trout jigging program slows up, maybe go out and try and find sheepshead. And when I get people to tussle with a 12 or 15 pound sheepshead, you can't peel the grin off their face. And most of them have never heard of such a fish before. So nothing about have one on lake tackle. I had a fall trip 4 or 5 years ago, and a couple from Utah, believe it or not, and they caught a bowfin, and they're like, "What is this thing?" And I'm like, "Well, it's a prehistoric fish." And they looked at me like I had 3 heads. I said, "It's one of the oldest fish in the lake, and it's not much for table fare, but just a phenomenal fight. They are just so much fun on tackles." So, again, it's just thinking about how can you make that trip interesting? How can you show them something they've never seen before? And I'm hoping this year to add GAR to my program. There are a fair amount of my guide buddies that offer that now, both on the fly and with spinning tackles. So if I can go out and get somebody hooked up on a 45 or 50 inch GAR, again, they've probably never seen a fish of that size and proportion before. So says a lot.
Yeah. Speaking of both, and we had a researcher from Harvard University who, one of the things that we can offer is genetic and biological sampling during the event.
Sure.
And so they were interested in tracing the gene line of the bowfin in Lake Champlain. So that was neat to read their findings. And, we've helped out with Dartmouth and doing their mercury study for Vermont Fish and Wildlife. What we're able to give them data-wise is the largest creel study done on Lake Champlain in like a, consistent window.
Sure.
So we really, help inform some of their management choices by seeing those trends in the fisheries.
Sure. Yeah, that's what it's all about, and keeping it alive and knowing what our fishery is doing. Managing pollution, thinking about what our bait profile is doing. It's all part of that input from the anglers out there and, of course, the biologists and the hard work that they do. Tell us about how people join LCI. How do they get involved with the Derby?
So 2 ways. You can go on our website, mychamplain.net, click on the Father's Day Derby link, and you'll find whole lot of resources where the weigh stations are, how to register, pictures, results from past years, everything you need to know Derby. If you are more of a paper and pen person and you prefer to register in person, there's a list also on our website. We have 20-something stores where you can go in and purchase your registration and stock up on some gear while you're there.
Awesome. Good. So what is the difference between a single category versus a team category?
So the team is an optional add-on, and it's a lot of fun. You can put together a team of up to 4 anglers, and we'll take your top 2 highest scoring fish and rank them against the other teams. So for last year, we split $21,000 amongst the top finishing teams. It's also bragging rights.
Sure, absolutely. Now, is the team anglers just certain species, or again, can teams catch anything that to be involved with?
Anything that's eligible for the Father's Day Derby of those 13 species can count in the team. For the purposes of the competition, we split it cold, cool, warm.
Gotcha.
And you don't have to pigeonhole yourself into just targeting warm water fish. You can go out and fish the whole gamut, but we will split your fish into those divisions when we do the scoring.
Gotcha. And you talked about the junior division. What are they eligible for?
Oh, those are my favorites. So junior anglers are any angler who is ages 14 and younger, and they are eligible for our junior cold, cool, and warm grand prizes. Those are presented by Rack and Reel Sporting Goods. Great friends down there. Yep. And also our junior trophy yellow perch. So they're eligible for those, and they're also eligible for the adult prizes.
Awesome.
So if a junior catches a fish that can rank with the adults, then hey, they earned it.
Absolutely. No, it doesn't surprise me at all that the Kip family would be sponsoring that. I've actually talked to John a lot and hoping to have him on with us. And one of our goals is to have a whole youth-oriented topic when we do it. And I know that's a big piece of his heart, is trying to keep those kids involved. And it is for me too, obviously, all gamut of hunting and fishing. And those are our lifeblood of keeping the outdoor tradition alive. So we've got to instill that for sure.
You know, and one of my favorite parts of this job, having been around for 20 years, 22 years, the anglers that I saw start as juniors in the LCI, like now I've watched them grow up. I've watched them get married. I've watched them have their own kids. And now those kids are fishing in the junior division.
Isn't that wicked? Phenomenal.
It kind of makes me feel old, but it's fun.
Well, you're only as old as you feel, and none of us are getting any younger, so we just got to go day by day. Now, tell us, you also have your all-season derby. What's that all about?
Yeah, that was in response to trying to keep the enthusiasm up year-round. We used to have a different tournament that ended at the end of September, but what we were hearing from folks is, you know, I'm really not a fall person. I really like hard water. I really wish you guys would do an ice derby or extend this throughout the year. So we said, all right. So the Basin Derby runs for 50 weeks. It goes from the opening of trout season all the way through the end of March the following year. Gotcha. And we also extended it out. So it is any public body of water in the whole of the Champlain Basin. So if you never looked at a map, it covers just a crazy amount of geography. You know, in addition to Lake Champlain, you've got Bombazine, you've got Placid, you've got all those little amazing trout ponds and streams down south.
Sure.
So it's just great. It's for the folks that are out fishing year round anyways. You know, maybe the Father's Day Derby just isn't quite their style or speed. Maybe they don't like all the people and everything. They like to just go out by themselves one day in February. We gotcha.
That's wicked. Oh, great stuff. Where do you guys see it going from here? Any new stuff that going to be coming out, or any projects you're working on?
You know, we're always trying to be bigger. Well, maybe not always bigger, but we're always trying to be better and more inclusive. You know, over the past few years, it used to be that we lumped together bowfin, catfish, and sheepshead, and they all competed in one category. And we kept hearing, you know, give us our due, give us our own division. So we added a bowfin division, and then the catfish guys were like, come on. So we gave them their own division, and I would like, and every year, you know, you mentioned gar, and I kind of chuckled because, you know, we hear a lot people would like to see gar as an eligible species in the Derby. Trust me, I would love to be able to have a division for every species in the lake, but sure. We're not quite there yet. But we'd love to just keep appealing to the next generation of anglers, offering new and exciting things, and just keep doing our work to get the word out on the issues facing Champlain and what folks can do to help out. You know, I feel like sportsmen in general are sort of an unappreciated group of conservationists out there.
Took the words out of my mouth.
I feel like they sometimes get a bit of a bad rap, and I don't know where it came from, but from my experience, the most dedicated and passionate conservationists that I've met, hands down, anglers and sportsmen.
For sure. No, it's try to take the politics out of it. And we know the people that are anti everything, and they promote themselves as being conservationists. But the reality is the person buying those hunting and fishing licenses, putting the money back into the ecology, back in to their home state and that waterway, that piece of woods, whatever, is helping our outdoor way of life. It's helping the species that are in that region, and it's supporting conservation. And you hit it around the nail head that the people that are out there living this livelihood, living this lifestyle, are the ones that are supporting conservation. And we have to keep moving forward. We have to stand up and speak our piece and get involved. I can't say that enough, that when people have got an interest in a particular issue, from weed control on Lake Bomazine to lamprey control on Lake Champlain, to hound hunting with bears, no matter what the subject matter, if you don't speak your piece, if you don't get involved, we don't ever move anywheres with this stuff. So,
and stop vilifying the use of natural resources as a food source.
Absolutely.
You hear that catchphrase, local, sustainable, organic. I mean, it doesn't get much more local, sustainable, or organic than utilizing the resources, at our back doorsteps.
For sure.
In a responsible way.
Yeah. I get asked, obviously, all the time, do you consume and eat the fish on this lake? I'm like, yeah, and I don't have 5 heads yet. So,
Yet.
At 53, not yet. But, you can remember a day not too awfully long ago that back in the 80s, all the warnings that were still out there for mercury contamination and only eat so many, helpings or servings of this particular species. And a lot of that has gone by the wayside. And you guys deserve some credit with that and pushing forward to help with the lake cleanup, to get everybody's ear that, hey, we've got an issue when it comes to pollution that's running into our lake, and from many different avenues. And I grew up as a dairy farm kid, and always used to punch me in the gut where people would instantly point the finger at the farmer. Well, obviously we start looking at nitrogen and phosphorus entering in the lake. It is a big issue with that, but it's gotten much better. But we also have to look at storm runoff. We have to look at the effluent that's coming in from other towns not too far from my home neighborhood, that are releasing into our waterways. So we've got work to do yet. And we've got to get our local representatives to understand that this waterway, along with all bodies of water for everybody to enjoy, not just the person that owns a piece of property on that waterfront. And again, the weed control topic just reared its ugly head again just the other night. And I will continue to fight till I can't walk onto my boat any longer, to push and say, just because you own property doesn't give you the right to dump chemicals in my water. And that's, I will never change my heart with that. So, like I said, get people involved. Any new things or something coming for this year, or things that people should be aware of before they get up here, that type of stuff?
Oh, so we've got a great giveaway this year from our friends at Stewart Shops and Coca-Cola. Every angler registered in the Derby this year is going to be automatically entered to win a week-long fly-in fishing trip to Berthelot Lake Lodge up in Canada.
Awesome.
So again, you don't even have to catch a fish. Just enter the Derby and you'll be automatically entered to win. Another big favorite of the Derby are the raffles that we do at the way stations at the end of the day, each of the 3 days. Just if you're registered in the Derby, show up, show your registration, and get some tickets, and we'll get you entered for that. We've got great prizes being given away. $50,000 in raffle prizes we'll hand out over the course of the 3 days. So yeah, that's a crowd favorite.
Awesome. Great stuff. If somebody was interested in being a sponsor or helping you guys, how would they get involved with that?
Oh, yes, please. Website, mychamplain.net. We've got a button right on the Father's Day Derby page. Become a sponsor. give us a call. We'd love to have a conversation with you, let you know what it is that we do, what we can offer sponsors. We're in challenging times right now for a lot of our sponsors, and we really appreciate them. They've despite the challenges that they're facing, they're standing with us. Can't say enough good things.
No, that's for sure. And Andy and I know all too well, and the challenges since we've got this up and running, that not easy to keep the sponsorship thing going. So we continue to work on that ourselves. But, well, again, thank you guys for everything that you've done and moving the Derby forward. Thank you for joining us. And this will go live next week, and hopefully get a lot of people a chance to listen to it that might be on the fence about coming up here. But like I said, one of my favorite weekends of the year, to get up here and taste not only what our region provides, but to get a chance to get on the water and enjoy that camaraderie. So thanks so much for joining us, Liz.
Thank you both. Yeah, we'd love to have anyone come on up to Lake Champlain, see what it's all about. It's one of the most magical places on earth.
That it is. It's my home waters, man. I think it's going to be that way for quite a few years to come. So, well, again, Liz, good luck to you guys. I'm sure a very busy weekend. Before we wrap up, when is the annual prize giveaway and announcements of who wins after the Derby?
Award ceremony is Friday, June 20th.
June 20th. Gotcha.
Yeah.
So June 20th, everybody gets to find out who wins the big money and what the big fish of each species is, and get their name on a plaque. So.
Indeed. Gotta love the trophies. And we'll keep the results updated throughout the Derby on our website, mychamplain.net. See the amazing fish that are coming in.
And correct me if I'm wrong, OKO does updates daily for you guys at live, so people can tune on the air too?
Yeah, both WOKO and WIZN will be doing updates as well.
Cool stuff. Well, great. Well, thank you so much for joining us, and hopefully we'll have you on as a regular guest again with us next year. And thank you for all your efforts. Get some rest before the big weekend.
Yeah, I'll keep an eye out for your name to pop up on the leaderboard too.
Time will tell. Well, again, folks, thanks for tuning in and listening to us here on New England Outdoor Life. And we're going to continue to work on having new guests on with us. And got a couple of fly fishing guides that are going to be coming with us here in the next couple of weeks. But it's that time of year. One of these days, Mother Nature's going to give in, and summertime weather is going to be here to stay with us. So thank you again for listening in New England Outdoor Life Podcast. Enjoy.
Hey there, thanks for joining us today. Don't forget to head over to newenglandoutdoorlife.com to sign up for our mailing list. And while you're at it, check out thirdalarmcharters.com. That's third with the number 3. Have a great week, and we'll see you outdoors.